So then now, Masters of the Universe. So I'm a big He-Man Masters of the Universe fan in general. Tell us about your work with the Canon Films in the production design for Masters of the Universe.
Okay, the first film I worked on for Canon was the remake of Invaders from Mars. It was scripted by Dan O'Bannon. It was directed by Toby Hooper, the guy who directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
And Canon, boy, that was a wildcat film company. At the time I was working for them, I think the greatest number of films any of the big studios had in production was Warner Brothers had 6 films in production, and Canon had like 80. It was
at the same time, yeah.
What I loved about it, it was similar to Roger Corman in that if you had an idea for a film, you were a young filmmaker, you could get an audience with Menachem, the president of the company, and pitch him and get a yes or no on the spot. You didn't have to go through the whole chain of underlings. You could just talk to the top guy, and if he said yes, you got your chance to make your film. You wouldn't get much money, but you get your shot.
You make a movie, yeah.
Yeah, I love that about those guys. They're crazy. So after Invaders from Mars, I designed all the Martian stuff except for the Supreme Intelligence, which was designed by Stan Winston's crew. But I got hired to storyboard Masters of the Universe. So I started doing that. And the director, Gary Goddard, he and I just really hit it off. We had a shared passion for comics. He was a huge Jack Kirby fan.
Yeah.
And so we communicated in a shorthand that other people on the film didn't have. If he told me, Bill, this is great, can you just Kirby it up a little bit? I know exactly what he was talking about. I didn't have to, have him explain that.
Yeah, you spoke the same language.
He had the opposite relationship with the production designer on the film, Jeff Kirkland. Jeff was this old English guy, and boy, he and Gary did not see eye to eye on. One day, he was taking all the Mattel people, the Mattel brass, through the studio where we were working, showing them all the progress on the motion picture.
Yeah.
And he saved the art department for last because he knew that would be the frosting on the cake. And those guys just started flipping out. They were just so excited and so impressed. And Gary finishes off this incredible sort of performance presentation, and he turns to Jeffrey Kirkland for sort of an agreement or acknowledgement. And Jeff's working at his board. He lifts up his head, he looks at Gary and looks at the Mattel guys, and he says, "It's not going to be too fucking awful."
A lot of enthusiasm.
Man, burst that balloon.
Yeah.
And about a week later, I don't know if it was mutually agreed, but anyway, Jeff left the film. He recommended I take over as production designer.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was told at 10 a.m. that I was the new production designer. And by noon, I was getting congratulatory calls from all over the industry.
Wow.
And they knew about it. My own family even knew about it. It was like, it was such a small type business. It's amazing. So I became the production designer, Masters of the Universe. It so happened that my pal Moebius was living in Santa Monica at the time trying to get a film project of his off the ground. So I was able to hire Jean to work for me on Masters. And that turned out great. And that was perhaps the easiest film that I ever worked on because the production was so screwed up, there's no way I could be late on anything.